Hi everybody, my name is Freebo, and I want to talk with you a little bit today about creativity. Interesting thing, creativity. I think creativity is an expression of our spirit. We're spiritual beings on an earthly journey, and the way we express that is through our creativity. Since we're all different spirits, what we have to express is something completely different and completely unique. And it is said that if we don't express it, it will never be expressed and it will never come out, and the world will never have it. Now, a lot of us go, oh, big deal, so the world will never have it. I don't really have that much to give. It's no big deal. I'm not really that creative anyway. I beg to differ, beg to disagree. We're all creative in our own way, in many different ways. And in this society, we're taught not to be. We're taught to be practical. Well, it's okay, art's nice, it's nice to be able to do it, it's nice to be able to play an instrument or paint or sculpt or draw, but it's not really that important. Be practical, get a job, make a living. Yeah, these things are important, absolutely. But in the process, our creativity and our artistic side gets diminished. And that's very, very true in society. And I'd like to think that if our spirit is not being expressed, then it means it's being repressed, which means it's staying right here. Our creative child is staying right here. So in a sense, we become spiritually constipated. Not a very pleasant visual, but I think it's a good way to express it. And I think if you look around, I think a lot of society these days is that way. And when we don't express our spirit, it comes out in very, very strange ways, a lot of anger, and because we're not seen for who we want to be seen as. And we all have a need, we have a desire to be seen for who we are. And of course, if you want to be seen for who you are, you got to show who you are. Otherwise, I'll never see you for who you are if you don't show yourself, and vice versa. So I've learned to show myself as best I can, the most authentic person I can, and get to the point where you either like it or you don't like it. And it's taken a while for me to get comfortable with that. I'm at the point in my life I am very comfortable with that. And since I've become comfortable with that, I find that what I express is extremely authentic. And it becomes more and more real, more and more pure, and that is expressing my spirit. It comes out in my music, comes out in my lyrics, and ultimately I think it comes out in my conversations. It's a constant work in progress. I think we all are, but I have till the end of my life, and who knows when that'll be. But the point about my creative side is I can keep doing that as long as I live. No matter what happens, I can do that. So I want to support y'all in doing that, and in first giving yourself permission and acceptance that you are indeed and in fact a creative person. Now, sometimes what we have to do is we have to get these blocks, we call them old stories, out of our heads, because we were led to believe by somebody way back when that we weren't creative. Oh, your brother's the creative one. Oh, it's your sister. No, your father is the one. And before you know it, we hear that and we diminish ourselves. It's all choice. We choose to diminish ourselves. Of course, we don't know we're choosing it, but that's kind of what happens. So as we get older, we go, gosh, I'd really like to play guitar or sing. I always loved to sing, but I never thought I had a good voice. Well, one thing to do is, if you really like to sing and you don't think you have a good voice, maybe take some voice lessons. I mean, I think there are certain limitations. For instance, so you certainly, if a one-legged man, I don't think it might not be the best choice to say I'm going to be an Olympic sprinter. Maybe he doesn't quite have the tools for it. So certainly a person, I suppose, who's tone deaf might not be a good idea to really delve deeply into music, but that doesn't mean you can't delve deeply into the visual, because you might have something else going on. There's so many different ways of expressing the creativity, and so many ways that we talk ourselves out of not doing it. And so there are various tools to help us do this. And I think when in order to use a tool, there has to be a job, and so you have to get to the point where you say, well, gee, maybe I am blocked. Maybe I told myself or was led to believe that I'm not creative, and maybe I am. And I would say it's a good way to figure it out, which is, what would I like to do in my ideal world? What would I like to do? What I'd like to be. And it's not a question of to be a Van Gogh or to be a Beethoven or to be a Jimi Hendrix or a James Taylor or a Joni Mitchell or even Lady Gaga. It's a question of to just express what you want to express, what I want to express as best I can. So once I get into comparing myself to someone else, I'm in deep, deep poo-poo. Don't want to do that. Because I will never be James Taylor. I will never be Jackson Browne as a singer-songwriter. But then again, they'll never be me. So what I have to express is uniquely mine, my perspective in the world, my particular musicality, my particular way with words, my particular sense of communication in terms of a singer-songwriter. It could be different as a painter, as a drawer, sculptor, actor, writer. So many ways to express ourselves. And so I think once you say that I'd like to do this, here's what I'd like to do, you simply set out and try it. And you'll start to hear the voices of the comparison. That's where you finally realize that, there's something a little deeper below here, that I've got a story going on that keeps getting in my way. I keep not finishing what I start. I keep comparing myself. It's never good enough. Oh, I'll never be. That's when it comes time to do the inner work. And I would recommend a book very highly, a book that helped me tremendously. And I've turned on to hundreds of people. It's helped them a lot. It's called The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron. It's in 12 chapters. You do it in 12 weeks. And it works really well. Just do as told. And there's another book by a friend of mine called The 2020 Creativity Solution. And Vivian Nesbitt and John, oh gosh, what is John's name? I'll think of it as we go along. But it's called The 2020 Creativity Solution. And it's a wonderful book. And both of these give you tools on how to begin to recover your creativity, to recover and discover. And I found that the more that I've done that, the more that I've worked on what was holding me back, worked on my old stories, I became more creative. I used to think that I needed drugs and alcohol to do it, and that worked for a while, but every curve has an apex, and after a while it stopped working for me. And I was afraid, actually, when I gave up drugs and alcohol, that I wouldn't be very creative. I was so wrong. I've done most of my really good work since I've given that up and been able to tap into who I really am. I'm not telling you to go on a 12-step program and to give up anything. Whatever works for you, works for you. Just telling you what worked for me. So I encourage you very much to delve into your creativity, to give yourself permission to do it, to take up an instrument if you don't already play one, some instrument, or begin to draw or begin to write. But in short, begin to do something artistic without a result. In other words, get into the process. The result is what holds us back. The result is, well, I can't just write a song. I want to write a hit song. So, and a hit song, not necessarily a good song. A hit song is a song that happened to become a hit because somebody promoted it here, etc., etc. But when you think a hit song, I would suggest think a good song. I want to write a good song. What's a good song? A good song is a song that is from my heart, that connects. It can be a very simple song. A song that makes me feel good when I sing it. Made me feel good when I wrote it. It was about something that was important to me. Might be important to somebody else. I think if you do something good, no matter what it is, to the best of your ability, two things happen. First of all, the most important thing is when you're in the process, you feel really good about it. You get in the zone. You get in the moment. And that's what's happening. Most of the great philosophical and spiritual work that's being done today is about getting in the moment. Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about it in his books, The Power of Now and New Earth. And it's so right on the money. Because when you're in the moment, you're in the zone. Nothing else is happening. And when you're in your art, in your creativity, and you're just simply doing it to do it, even painting a house, mowing the lawn, not real creative, but puts you in the moment. It can be creative. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. But it's fascinating how when we do something like that, not for result, but for process, something magical happens. And we're absolutely happy in that moment. Everything else disappears. There's no worry, which is future. There's no obsession, which is future. There's no doubt, which is future. There's no guilt, which is past. There's no old story, which is past. There's not hang on to anything. It's right in the moment. So this is what the practice of creativity does for us. And once again, I highly suggest that you get into this in one way or another. Give yourself permission, and if you find that you're having a hard time, pick up one of these books and search the internet just in creativity. There's so much going on. So I like to delve into a lot of this in my workshops, one-on-one. And when we go around the circle, it's interesting what comes up. It's amazing how many people have a very similar story, different names, faces, and places, but very, very similar dysfunction that we all have. And we would all like to function on the highest level we can. So again, I suggest that the more you use your creativity, the more you tap into, the more you tap into your spirit. The more you tap into your spirit, the more present you become, the more present you are, the better chance you have of being happy and connecting with others. So good luck with it. Freebo at freebomusic.com, that's my email. Freebomusic.com is my website. And hope to work with you at some point. Nice talking with you.